Hi friends, welcome to Angie's Kitchen. Today I'm going to prepare chocolate nutty cake. This is very less oil added and it is very tasty chocolate nutty cake. So towards this I have taken badam, cashew nuts and walnuts which are cut into very small pieces in a small bowl which is around half a cup, and to this I am adding 1.5 tablespoon of rum. So I'll add this rum in the beginning itself and then I'll close it with a lid and then keep it aside. So by the time I'm mixing it with the mix, it will all be mixed together. So this is the amount of butter that I am going to add in the cake. So this piece of butter I'll be using for making the tin ready. So you can see that I am making a thin layer of butter in the cake tin. So once I make a thin layer across, then I will keep the parchment paper which I have cut in the same shape. So that is the once this butter is laid properly, then I am going to lay this parchment paper or the butter paper, and then on the top of this parchment paper I will be adding little bit of butter again. So the remaining butter which you can see in the small bowl is what I am going to add in the cake. So that's why I said this is with very less oil or very less butter while the preparation. Next step is I am taking like 3 tablespoons of lukewarm water in a small bowl, and then I am going to add around 1 teaspoon of instant coffee powder. So I will not be adding vanilla essence. Instead, this coffee powder will give the flavor to the cake. So this is the instant coffee and I am mixing it and keeping it aside to bring it to room temperature. Next I am taking the dry ingredients. So here I have taken 1 cup of all-purpose flour or maida, and to this I am going to add around 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. So this is a good branded cocoa powder which I am adding, and then I'll be adding half teaspoon of baking powder. This is around half a teaspoon which I'll be adding to this mixture, and followed by I'll add around quarter teaspoon of baking soda. This is around quarter teaspoon, and then a quarter teaspoon of salt. So this has to be mixed together very well. So for mixing it very well, I am going to sieve it through a siever. So I will be sieving it around twice so that it will get mixed properly. So this baking powder, the baking soda and the salt will be spread across everywhere evenly. So for this I am sieving it almost twice. So this will be the dry ingredients, and this I will add it with the wet ingredients only at the time of mixing it or baking it. So next I am going to prepare the wet ingredients. So for this I have taken half a cup of curd. So this is a full set curd, and to this I am going to add half cup sugar. So this is with less sugar, that is the reason I am adding half cup. If you want to increase the sweetness, you can increase it till 3/4 cup of sugar. So I have powdered the sugar, and this both sugar and the curd has to be mixed very well, and make sure that there are no lumps and the sugar has to be fully dissolved. So you have to mix it until then, till you get a smooth mixture. So mix it very well, and in the meantime I'll keep the butter in an oven for 10 seconds so that it gets melted, and this will be around 1 tablespoon. So this 1 tablespoon of butter I'll be adding to the mix. So this is the total amount of butter that I'll be adding in the cake. So that is the reason I said this cake is with less fat. And next I'm going to add milk. There will be 3/4 cup of milk which is required, and from that I am adding 1/4 cup to the mixture now, and you can see that small lumps will be formed because there is curd in it, but that doesn't matter. And now I am adding coffee, the coffee mixture which we have already prepared, and I am going to mix this very well, and you can see lumps but you can just neglect it, it will not be a problem. So now the wet ingredient is almost ready. So I am going to mix everything, and now I am going to preheat the pan. So this is a very old pan which is a heavy bottom pan. So I am going to keep it with a wire, a steel wire, and I am going to keep it closed and preheat it for 5 minutes in medium flame. And now I am going to mix the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients. So slowly you have to mix the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients in smaller quantities. So if the mix is getting thickened, you can add milk to it. So you can see that I'm adding milk little by little and making sure that all the ingredients are mixed together. So in total I have added around 3/4 cup of milk to the mix so that I can get the correct texture in the batter. So slowly I will add little by little milk and will be mixing these ingredients well. So now the batter is almost ready, and I'm going to take the powders from the sides so that I can mix it very well. So that is what you are seeing. I'm clearing off the sides of the bowl. So now the batter is ready. You can see the correct texture, I have got it. And finally I'll be adding the dry fruits which I have mixed with rum now to the batter. So I'm going to mix this now, and while mixing this, you don't need to mix it very well. You can actually fold it from the sides and bring it to the middle so that it gets mixed properly. So this is how the batter is, and now the cake batter is ready. Now I'm going to bake this. So for this, I have already prepared the tin. To this tin, I'm going to add this batter now. You can see that I'm going to take the complete batter from the bowl. So now the batter is being added. Now we need to remove the air which has got incorporated. So for that you need to tap this for 2 to 3 times so that all the air is getting released. And now we can reduce the flame to the lower temperature, and then we can insert this cake tin into the preheated bowl. And now I am going to increase the temperature to low to medium, and then close it with a lid and cook it for 40 to 45 minutes. So after 45 minutes I have opened the pan now, and you can see that the cake has raised, and you can see a well cooked cake now. So now I'm checking the cooking, and you can see that spoon is clear now. So now the cake is ready. I have removed it from the pan, and I'm trying to take the cake out of the spring form. So since it is spring form, it can easily come out, and since we have sprayed the butter, it will come out easily. So now I'm going to remove the tin from the cake, so it can easily come out now because of the butter. And now you can see how spongy the cake is. See how spongy it is. And now I'm going to tilt the cake so that I can remove the bottom part of the spring form and the butter paper. So since we have spread butter, it can easily come out. And now the butter paper or the parchment paper, I'm removing it from the bottom. So in total you can see I have added only 1 tablespoon of butter, and then the butter which I have spread in the tin. This is the total butter which is added, so it is very less fat cake. Now I am going to tilt the cake again and keep it aside for cooling, and once it is brought to room temperature, I am going to cut the cake to show you how soft the cake has come out and how the nuts is spread over in the cake. So now the chocolate nutty cake, and you can see the nuts in it and how soft it is. It is very clear that it is very soft now. Thank you for watching my video. Please share it and subscribe.